What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, well, welcome to March, Monster March, according to Splinterlands TV. We are officially done with February. I'm recording this on March 1st, 2023, and so just like I did at the end of January, I wanted to do a February review and then a kind of like outlook on what to expect in March. Now, different than what I had last time was I can actually have the expectations from that previous video. I saved them here so we can go through the expectations first and then see what was met with the actual deliveries. So you'll be surprised that we didn't hit all of them, but we also did have some other things that were not expected, or at least not on the expectations list. So let's just run through this. So you get the DECB sale. Obviously, that did go live, which is awesome. Tower Defense Beta, I'm still salty about that. We have not heard anything, and I am upset. I know I got a smile on my face, but I am upset. The card set update did go live. That was early on in February. I think the first one, the first release cycle that we had, our first maintenance window. The land map enhancements, and then phase one, which would be surveying, right? So there's like two elements to this. We're going to do map enhancements and then surveying. I don't think we've gotten either. Well, we definitely haven't gotten surveying yet. It seems like there were some enhancements to the map, but I don't know if that was exactly what Farpishad was talking about. So I'm going to say that I'm going to say that was a miss, right? So far we have tower defense and land map enhancements and surveying, or just land in general, as a miss. Now, season rentals and league rating. You can see I have these starred because if you go back to that other video from January, or I'll say end of January, I actually had these as maybe things we can expect. They were on the roadmap for Q1, but since we were, there was 2 months remaining in Q1 at that point, I was looking at it and saying, well, these, I'm expecting them in March, but I put them on just in case we do get them in February. And surprisingly enough, awesomely enough, we did get both of them in February. So I had thought that they were going to come in sometime by the end of Q1, which meant March. I thought that they would prioritize land, but obviously I'm sure there's still a lot of issues with land and trying to get all that sorted. But they have promised that we will get land by the end of Q1, or at least phase one of land by the end of Q1. So let's look at the other things that were actually delivered. Obviously, we had the DECB sale that went live. We had the card set update and filtering. So I love the new little filters. It's a two-step process, but it does make it much more clean, where you can go in, choose Chaos Legion, and then choose the reward cards, choose Rift Watchers, promo cards, and actually just see it all organized in a much better way. What I didn't list here was the fact that this impacted certain elements of gameplay, including tournaments as well as brawls. So now whenever I play, for example, in I think I've done like the untamed or modern brawls, we'll call them, I'm able to use my Dr. Blight, whereas before I could just use Rift Watcher and Chaos Legion cards. I don't have any untamed in dice, but I'm able to use Lux Vega, Dr. Blight, Oh Sure. So all of that has, I think, impacted gameplay, at least for me, and I'm sure for many others around. Whether it makes it more difficult or easy, I don't know, but that's, that's up to every person to determine individually. But I like the fact that what was meant to be is now implemented. Okay, next thing we had was the Validators. We had an update on the Validators. It looks like they're running, obviously, on a private net or, internally for the team, but we did get the vouchers moved to the brand new SPS chain, or at least that's what it's being called for right now, the SPS chain. So with that being said, right, the Validators are something that's going to happen mostly in the background. Obviously, once it goes live, that will impact us, and we'll have to do, some work or utilize one of the services that will hopefully pop up. But the SPS chain up and running, I think, is a very big thing, even if it is just in the background. Now, keep in mind, the SPS chain will govern three, or has governance over 3 tokens, right? SPS, vouchers, and then the node licenses. So we are, it's tough to say that we're 1/3 of the way there, because I'm sure vouchers, while they're difficult in certain ways, because they can be used to pair with DEC, or they can be used to pair with SPS. They might have been the easiest. Who knows? Maybe they were the most difficult, maybe the easiest. So we don't really know how far progress is on the Validators. But my hope is that obviously at some point in the future, I'm not expecting this for March, but at some point in the future, we will see SPS move on there as well. And of course, the node licenses that you can transfer between game, Hive Engine, those should be available to put on the SPS chain. So that was a big one for me. Obviously, I'm all about the decentralization of this game, and with a lot of very concerning rhetoric regarding regulation here in the US, having it move off of the Teams servers, right? US based company Splinterlands Steam Monster servers and onto the SPS chain is a good thing for vouchers. And I would love to see that happen with SPS and the node licenses in the future. Okay, we got some game changes as well, some that I wasn't necessarily happy about. We got a little nerf to Dispel, a little nerf to Life Leech as well for the for Blast rule sets. So that was something, again, I like the Life Leech with Blast, but that's taken away now. Dispel with Blast probably makes more sense because Dispel was getting overpowered with the recent changes to it. And then Scattershot got a buff, mainly because we got the new airdrop card, which had Camouflage. So Scattershot can now target monsters with Camouflage. So a couple of game changes and tweaks there. I personally, and I said this in the video when I originally covered them, I personally don't like these at all. Like I don't like changes to the game mechanics in this way. I would rather the game be rebalanced by introducing new abilities, and the team has done that in the past. So, they must have felt that this was absolutely necessary, especially if you're going to introduce a summoner like Lily that does have Camouflage. But ultimately, I personally hope there's no more of this in the future, because every hardcore player that I talk to does not like this, and they always reference, this is why I stopped playing Magic the Gathering, right? Because they just started changing too many things within the game mechanics. I would buy a card or I'd buy certain things within the game in order to utilize them, and then they just completely change it. So I think we're still in an early phase where nobody's saying like, I bought this card because of Dispel or Life Leech or Scattershot, but it's not a good feeling and it's not a good trend in my personal opinion. But that's just me. We also got a clear filter on the on your team selection, which is actually really nice. So when you're looking at the mana, I wasn't a big fan of the 10+, and I'm still not a big fan of the 10+. I like the 7+, and just seeing all of the guys there, or all of the people 7+. But it's been a little bit of an adjustment. But it's good to see that there's if people prefer that better, all the way 1 through 9, then it makes it easier. But I do like the little clear filter now, where I can select a bunch of different things, and then when I want to go back, I just have to hit one button instead of Xing out all the different mana costs that were there. Okay, we also had the final airdrop and the sunset sale leaderboard that was implemented. Now, the final airdrop I think is actually important because the way things were going, we were not going to get this until March, but there were two things that came about. The first of which was the Nifty partnership that removed 500,000 packs, and then there was, well, not 500,000, they removed 300,000 initially. And actually, you know what? That's the only thing, because the proposal from Gene Pool for chest and the reward chest actually came after the 14th million. So it was just the 300,000 packs that was taken from that was set aside for Nifty that actually moved the that moved Lily to February. Otherwise, that would have been 12 days later, right? If you count like 300,000 packs, 12 burns. Obviously, some people would have bought some, but ultimately we did get to move that earlier. And now we have the sunset sale leaderboard, which I think is great. More incentives for people to buy Chaos Legion packs. And yes, I go against the grain on this. I think the SPS Chaos Legion pack burning was a good move, but I'm telling you that there's not going to be enough Chaos Legion cards overall for everybody. So I don't want to see these packs burned, but I think the burning implementation was a good move back in November to start getting through and creating a little bit of FOMO for people to come in. But ultimately, from a very long-term standpoint, I just don't think we have enough Chaos Legion cards, and we're really going to feel that over the next couple of months and quarters if if we don't get Rebellion until late Q3. Okay, we also had some things with tech modernization. Again, we're only like 35% of the way through tech modernization, and I don't want to stay too long on this, but if you go back through the release notes, which are posted every week, different pages are getting, different pages on the website are getting moved to tech modernization. We saw that with DEC. I think we saw that with vouchers. We saw that with SPS. So, it's a piecemeal kind of thing, slowly and steadily getting there. But it's actually cool that we can see the progress every week or every couple of weeks when another page or yet another part of the website is moved to this tech modernization. Hopefully, once we get 100% there, and there may never be 100%, right? But once we get all the old stuff on, this can make for a better mobile experience. This can make for easier clear implementation of new ideas, new elements within the game. And, ultimately it's obviously going to be a good thing, but we're starting to see some progress on that. And then I already covered season rentals and league rating point changes. The one thing, and I didn't want to list it here as an extra, but with league rating point changes, there was also a focus on the new player experience within Novice, right? Novice was changed. So, most of the upper leagues, it was just, you don't drop back down as far as you used to before, but Novice was changed very much from a structural standpoint, where when you play in Novice, when you lose, you don't go back down, and you have to win 10 games, right? So you get 10 rating points in Novice. So you really have to figure out at least the basic parts of the meta to win in Novice before you can get into Bronze. It will make you win 10 times. And while the Novice bots didn't necessarily go live with the last what's that called? Maintenance update. There was a note there that they haven't gone live yet, but they will go live at some point in the future. So right now, Novice can still play against Bronze, but at some point in the future, once you get out of Bronze, or once you get out of Novice and into Bronze, you won't have a lot of those Bronze accounts or Bronze bots, we'll call them, playing down in Novice. It'll just be the team's designated bots, which, I'm assuming they're designing in a way to not overpower you and not be optimized for the best lineups, right? It's just supposed to be something that helps you understand the meta of the game and certain strategies and different splinters or elements. So overall, I thought February had a lot of good stuff in it. Again, this is the shortest month of the year, but there were still four maintenance windows. So most months are still always going to have 4 maintenance windows. And ultimately, again, I think we made a lot of positive moves. Like I said, I'm still super salty about tower defense, and I will remain salty until that actually comes out. And then land, again, I don't get salty about land because I'm not a big land holder, and it's just meh to me. It's exciting, but they said it's going to be out by Q1, so I'm assuming it's going to be out by Q1 if there's no other delays. So let's go down to the expectations in March, and that's where we're going to start. So the land map enhancements and phase 1, I just moved that essentially down here. The team has said repeatedly that we should be getting phase 1 by the end of Q1, and March is the end of Q1. Looking at well, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. On the same vein of land, Matt came on and did like the land town hall a couple of weeks ago, and then actually came on the last town hall and talked more about land. So this land white paper, or land 1.5 white paper, is something that they are trying to get out by the end of Q1, right? So the end of March. And land 1.5 is a project that they're shooting, a half step that they're shooting for the end of Q2. So I think that this is going to be really exciting. Obviously, there will be more towards land when that happens in Q3, Q4, or the second half of the year. But I'm really looking forward to this land 1.5 white paper. You can bet that I will be digging into it and doing deep dives. And if you want me, I'm happy to do it here on the channel, recording it, or on one of the live streams. But it sounds like there's going to be a lot in there, and I will be very curious to see how all these elements are going to work together, as land will kind of be its own game in many ways, and I'm looking forward to participating with my 2 plots. Okay, the other expectations here. So we had the announcement, but the implementation, I believe, is going on in the next, or going live, I should say, in the next maintenance window, so March 7th, and that is the market listing fee. And I know people may not be excuse me, super happy about this, but ultimately I think it's going to be a great move to help the team with their server maintenance, and not, having just a bunch of 0.1 DEC cards just the market won't be as flooded with a bunch of crap now that nobody wants. And on top of that, it'll hopefully help the team with their server costs and all that to reduce costs if they don't have to process all these transactions, all the repricing back and forth. That doesn't happen by people, but mostly happens by rental bots, which, again, I love Splex, and I don't, it's not that I have anything against Splex, but I think that this is a good move overall. And combined with season rentals, I don't think that it's going to be that big of an issue if you're renting cards that actually have value. I think the days of renting, 0.1 DEC cards to all the bot accounts out there, I mean, we've seen the player base over the past year drop like 75%, right? And we know most of that is the changes that the team has made to reduce botting, or reduce bot incentives, right? Low league incentives. So now that a lot of that is gone, there's more SPS for the rest of us. This DEC that the market listing fee is collecting gets burned, and we need more DEC to get burned. So ultimately, I think that this is a net positive, and we as a community will work our way through this. And if you are a card lord, it's just the nature of which, the nature in which you will rent your cards out will change slightly, but I don't think that it's going to eat crazily into your profits. And if you were profiting off of renting, one BCX cards, one BCX reward cards to all those bots, I would say that your profits are probably down significantly. I know mine are, right? Like I have a ton of one BCX common reward cards that I just threw on the market because I wasn't using them. I bought them or I earned them, and I didn't want to level them up because I figured they might be more value in the future, and so I just left them there. And they normally don't get rented up, and in fact less and less of them have gotten rented up as we've gone from 400,000 daily active players down to like 100,000. So ultimately I don't feel impacted by this, or at least I don't think it's going to be a huge impact, but I can understand a little bit of the frustration with it. I'm just saying that on the whole, I would love to see, and if you're somebody who's upset by this, and I've invited people on the channel, if you're somebody who is upset with this, I would love to see your numbers before and after to see just how much it impacted you and what the cards you were renting out before were going for that they're going for now, or for example, that you're not able to get. So I am open to any data to be proven wrong on this, but ultimately at this point in time, obviously just speculation, I think it's a net positive. Okay, March expectations. Let's see. The other thing we have is Tower Defense Beta. I'm not going to talk about that anymore because I'll just start crying. Matt also mentioned a quarterly promo card on the last town hall, and the roadmap also has a quarterly promo card that they set for each quarter, right? So I was kind of expecting this in March. Now the only thing that's kind of weird is the team wants to put together quarterly promo cards, but then Gene Pool also put together a proposal that passed doing a promo card for SPS stakers, right? So not for vouchers, but for SPS stakers. And that passed. And so when people were asking about that in the most recent town hall, Matt kind of combined them together and said, well, we wanted to do a promo card for March. So, we're going to try and get this going. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what they're planning to do with it overall. But at this point, I highly doubt we're going to get 2 promo cards, even though we deserve it. Well, deserve is probably too strong of a word. Even though we would probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we expect it, right? Just from a logical standpoint, the team should be wanting to put together a promo card every quarter. At least that was what their plan was. That's what they put on the roadmap. If the SPS stakers now ask for a promo card, well, those should be 2 separate projects. So if they get combined, obviously at the end of the day, the DAO doesn't have jurisdiction over the team making promo cards. This is the DAO only has jurisdiction, at least at this point, over SPS node licenses and vouchers. So if the team decides that they want to combine it, that's fine. I'm not gonna cry about that. But it's just funny to think about, like, okay, well, we were expecting this promo card went through, the promo card proposal went through. The only thing that I would expect then, if they're going to do this, it should not be for vouchers. It should be along the lines of what Gene Pool recommended, which is how much SPS do you have staked if you get certain cards. So if they don't respect that, I think that'll be something to, I wouldn't be the one to bring it up, but I would expect Gene Pool to maybe say something. Gene Pool and Dave McCoy, who are both community leaders, because they had a very different thing in mind, where it was not supposed to be about vouchers. It was supposed to be about staking SPS and getting more people to stake as much SPS as they possibly could for this promo card. So hopefully when that comes out, it will respect the proposal that was set. If they're going to combine it, then I think it should respect what the proposal was requesting. But again, team doesn't have to do. Team can do whatever they want to do because it's cards and it's not SPS. Okay, last 2 things. SPS delegation. This is something that is on the roadmap as well. So, I don't know if that means we need to get SPS on the SPS chain first, which again, March is a long month. There's 31 days. So that could actually still happen. I'm not expecting that. I wasn't, or, wouldn't be expecting that to happen if that's not required for SPS delegation. But if it is, and they're still expecting to get SPS delegation to go live by the end of Q1, which is required so that we can get SPS rentals, and then the switch from CP collection power to SPS staking as a requirement for leagues some point in Q2. That could make March pretty exciting for more stuff within the validators. But if it's not, if they don't need the validators for that, then it's fine. But hopefully we do get this kind of SPS delegation to go live. I would also say, and again, this is just more out of practicality. Obviously, SPS delegation needs to go live before the SPS staking requirement replaces CP requirements. But if we're not going to get the CP replacement or SPS staking requirements right away, like it says Q2. So if that's going to come in like, I don't know, May or June, right, at a later point in time. If that's going to come later, then I wouldn't be surprised if SPS Delegation gets pushed off because, again, we don't need it to go live until right before that happens. Now, obviously, I don't want it to go live at the same time. I think people should understand, and there should, yeah, and I'm sure from a team perspective, these are two separate projects that are very closely linked, but they'd want to make sure that they implement them one at a time. So I can see SPS Delegation, even though I have only March expectations, I can actually see that getting pushed out into Q2. If the second half of that, which is the SPS taking requirement, does not happen or is not set to happen in April, for example. And then final one here. This is one that I'm actually probably the most excited for, is this ECR overhaul that was kind of teased during the last town hall by Matt. You know, ECR is something that has just been the bane of some people's existence, and you know, it's something that people get upset about because bots can play all day long without, you know, once per hour or twice per hour, and maximize their rewards. So in a way, that has been an exploit that people have been taking advantage of and just using bots. You know, shout out to Darkest Night. Apologize if he doesn't want me to say this, but he's usually pretty open, so I don't think it'll be an issue. But you know, he bots his account regularly now because he wants his bot playing every hour at 99% ECR so that it can earn the maximum amount of rewards. He's doing that, even though he loves the game, he is doing that rather than playing 25 battles a day during a session, right? You know, sitting down for an hour or 45 minutes, however long it takes, and playing 25 battles. To me, that's like incentivizing the wrong behavior, right? So I actually think that this is going to take away, maybe not an exploit, but it is going to incentivize people to actually play the game more for people who enjoy the game, right? It's like if I can play my 25 battles a day, or if my energy is whatever, and I can play my battles, and I don't have to worry about my ECR going down. I don't have to like play this dance. Like I bought my main account too, right? So I don't have to play this dance where it's like, ooh, I want to play like 5 battles, but then I'm going to take that away from my bot. I'm going to be earning a little bit less. Like, you know, like I don't have to do that dance anymore. I can just come in and I can play. And I don't have to worry about it. I'll earn my max rewards with the bonuses and nerfs based on the card collection that I have, and that'll be that. So I'm super excited for this, and it sounds like we are going to get some kind of post and hopefully implementation in March. But the post is supposed to be over the next couple of weeks, and then I would assume if the implementation I think they said the implementation should be going live by the end of the month, but I'll have to double check myself on that. So that is all I have for you guys. Sorry, this video ended up being a little bit longer. I rambled on a bunch of things, but hopefully that shows that there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened in February, and there's still a lot to happen in March and beyond. So I would love to know if I missed anything. Let me know in the comments below, whether that's something that was an actual from actual from February, or an expectation from March, or if you have other things that maybe you think should be on here for any reason. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to get your feedback. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.